Am I audible? Yeah, is my screen visible to all of you? Okay. So let us start the week 3 discussion of this course, deep learning. And okay, people are still joining. So this is week third discussion of this course, deep learning, and this course was originally designed by Professor Sudarshan Iyengar, Professor and Head of the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, IIT Ropar, and myself, Ayan Paul. I am a PMRF research scholar from IIT Kharagpur, and I am a PMRF TA for this course. My duties are I will be solving some of the question that will be similar to your assignment. So whenever you will be solving your assignment, you will not feel it is completely new. Okay, so that is my duty. But before that, I always want to revise some of the theories, so it would be easy for us whenever we are solving the question. Okay, so by that, let's start our session. So yeah, so we have started with the very old or very traditional neuron called maculo-Pitts neuron. Okay, and then we have moved to perceptron. Then we have seen network of perceptron, and today what then we have seen sigmoid neuron. Okay, and today what we are going to see, we will see the network of sigmoid neuron or network of any set of neuron, that is known as feed-forward neural network. Okay, so this is a neural network. Why it is called neural network? Because it is made up of network of neurons. Okay, this circles you can see here, these are nothing but neurons. Okay, so this feed forward neural network, it has three set of channels. Okay, the first channel or first layer is known as input layer. Okay, the one that is shown by this red color, x1, x2 and xn, these neurons in this line are known as input layer neuron. Okay, again someone is joining. Okay, so this layer in the bottom layer or the red color neurons, you can see this is the input layer neuron. Why it is called input layer neuron? Because at this layer only we are supplying the inputs, so that is why input layer neuron. The neurons that is at the end layer, that is known as output layer neuron or output neurons. Okay, so this layer is known as output layer. The in the output layer we can see two neurons here. Like there can be any number of neurons, but here two neurons are shown. This the neurons with the green color, these are known as output layer neurons. Okay, and in between all the neurons are known as hidden layer neurons. All the layers in between are known as hidden layers. Okay, so again I am revising your concept. There are three types of layer. One is the input layer, one is the output layer, and in between all the layers are known as hidden layers. Okay, input layer, why it is called input layer? Because in this layer only we are supplying the inputs. Why this green color neuron are known as output neuron? Because in this layer only we are getting the output from this layer, so that is why output layer neuron. And in between all the neurons are known as hidden layer neurons, or all the layers in between are known as hidden layers. So in this network you can see there are L-1 hidden layer. Only two hidden layers are shown in the diagram, but there can be L-1 hidden layer. Finally there is one output layer containing k. So in this layer we have n neuron, x1, x2, x3 dot xn. So in this input layer we have n neurons. In the output layer we have k neurons. So that is why that you can say y1, y2 dot yk. So we have k neurons at the output layers. And in between, in the hidden layer also, you can see that we have n neurons. Like here if I say this neuron is h1, so h1, h2 dot hn, like this. So this is the complete structure. Now how we can know the output of a neuron? Okay, another thing, what is this? Any hidden layer neuron or any output layer neuron, what you can see is there are two types of color, right? There is a blue color neuron, but in this blue also it is halved. One half it is sky blue color and the half it is dark blue color. So sky blue color means it is taking the input of the neuron. What does that means? We have seen in the perceptron or any maculo-Pitts neuron, what we have seen, we have two layer. One which does the sigma, or which sum all the inputs that is coming to it. So that is the input or pre-activation part of the neuron. Okay, sigma of all the x can be wx if here as weights are also there, so that is why sigma wi xi. So that is this light blue color or light blue color or sky blue color. This part, half part, is known as the pre-activation half of the neuron, and the one with the dark blue color, that part is known as activated part of the neuron. From the activated part, when we do the sigma xi, after that what we do, we put it in a function like g of sigma xi, sigma wi xi. So that part is known as the activated part of the neuron. We get our output from the activated part of the neuron. Okay, so that is about the network structure. So any doubt regarding this network? Any doubt you can ask? It is one of the most important class today. If you understand this class, you can tell that I know something about neural network. Okay, so it is very important class. So up to this, any doubt regarding number of neurons, number of hidden layers? Any doubt up to this? You can please ask. No doubt, right?
No, sir.
Okay. So now how we will get the output of one neuron? Okay, so one neuron or one layer of neuron, how we can get the output of that layer of neuron? So that we will see. So for getting any output of neuron, what we do? Okay. Writing is not coming good here. So wi xi plus b, that is the output of a neuron, that you all know, right? Y equals to wi, weight into the input, plus the bias. So that is output of any neuron. This formula you know. So this formula, if we do for all the neurons, so we can get the output of that layer of the neuron. So see, now there are many weights here. Why there are many weights? There are many inputs, so that is why there are many weights here. So in the first layer, the weights connecting the input layer and the first hidden layer, we are calling it W1. The weights connecting the first hidden layer to the second hidden layer, we are calling it as W2, and weight connecting the last hidden layer and the output layer, we are calling it W3. Okay, this W1, W2 and W3 will form matrix. Okay, and this inputs or any layer output, that will form a vector. A vector is nothing but matrix is nothing but n-dimensional vector. Okay, so if I take one column vector and add it, we can get a matrix, right? So that is the thing. So W1 will have weights coming from each like if I tell the weights that is coming on this neuron H1, so this will have weights coming from all the inputs. Okay, so that is why it will form a column vector, and if we put on all the column vector together, we will get a matrix containing weight of this layer. Similarly, we can get matrix containing weight of this layer and matrix containing weight of this layer. Okay, so when we get the matrix, we will just multiply it by the input, and we will get the we will add the bias, and we will get the A1, that is this portion of the output, and then we will put it in a function known as activation function, and we will get the output of this layer. So let me show you by an example. Okay, so this is this part. Okay, AI, how we can find out AI? I have already told it, that is bias plus weight into the input of the previous layer. So that is how we can get the pre-activation input of the neuron. Okay, so how we can calculate A1, how we can calculate A11, A12 and A13, that will be equal to B11, B12 and B13. These are the biases of all this biases of all the neuron of this layer, and plus W11, W12, W13. See, W11 is the weight connecting H1 and X1. Okay, and W12 is the weight connecting H1 and X2, and W13 is the weight connecting H1 and X3. Similarly, WHN will be weight connecting this H1 and XN. Okay, so that is how we are writing this weights. Similarly, for A12, whenever we will be calculating this neuron, so there also we will be having W21, because the weight connecting this neuron will have input from this and this. So weight connecting x1 will be called as W21, weight connecting x2 will be called as W22, and weight connecting weight connecting x3 will be called as W23. Similarly for this third neuron. Okay, so by this we are writing the W1 matrix, and when we have W1 matrix, we have HO1 is nothing but this only, x1, HO2 is x2, and HO3 is x3. Then we will just multiply weight into input plus the bias will give you the output. So that is very similar to what you have seen in this perceptron neuron or anyway. So that is how we can get the output of a pre-activation output of the neuron. Now after pre-activation we will be putting this in an activation function. Okay, and whenever we will put in an activation function called G, that can be sigmoid function or any function, so we will get the post activation or the output of this neuron, that is H1. Okay, so HI will be G AI. We will first find the AI and then we will put in a activation function, and we will get the output of that neuron. Okay, so that is all about this. Now mostly what happens is the activation function, we use different type of activation function for this hidden layer, and we use different type of activation for this output layer. So that we will be discussing on the coming slides, but till this I hope this is clear to all of you. Is it clear how we will be finding the output of a hidden layer or output of any layer? Is it clear? Clear, right? Any doubt you can ask.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Clear.
Anyone, any doubt? This is the basic thing, and I hope it is clear to all of you. That is why I am asking again and again. So that is why. Okay, so I think it is clear to all of you. So let's move on to the next thing, that is components of supervised learning. So this neural network, everything that we are doing, that is supervised learning. What is supervised learning? Supervised learning, you will give some data to the model will learn it, and it will the model will be formed, and after that you will give, if you will give a test data to the model will give you a output. So that is supervised learning. Means for training the model you are giving some labeled input, so that is known as supervised learning. And in unsupervised learning, your model learns by itself. Okay, you don't give any labeled data to it. So that is unsupervised learning. So this neural network is nothing but a supervised learning. Why? Because we are giving the labeled input to this neural network. So this supervised learning has several components. Okay, so one component, the first component is the data. That the input data or any kind of even the test data that is you are giving to it. So that is the first component of the supervised learning, that is data. Then we have model. What type of model we are using here? So here we are using the neural network. So this is the equation of the neural network. It has been written like you can see W1x plus B1 for getting the A1 value. This is the thing, W1x plus B1, and after that you will be putting it in a function called G. So you will be getting H1. Then H1, W2 into H1 plus B2 will give the A2, and similarly you will be reaching towards the output. So that is the model. Okay, and then we have parameter. What are the parameter? We have two set of parameter. One is the weights, okay, weights, and another one is the bias that we are giving. So we have two sets of parameter, weights and bias. So this is the third component of a supervised learning. And then we have the algorithm. What is the algorithm? Algorithm is the thing that is used to learn the neural network. So in basically in neural network we use the back propagation, and back propagation is based on gradient descent. So this is the algorithm. And then we have the objective or loss function. What is the objective or loss function? See, we are getting a predicted output, that is y hat, but we have a true output also, that is y. So the error between the y and y hat is known as the loss function. Okay, so this error is the loss function, and our target of this loss function is to minimize the error. So that is why minimize, this is the squared error. So that is why yij minus yij, this is the predicted one. Whenever you will see the hat on the output, that is the predicted, and yij is the actual one. So each neuron you will have a predicted output and you will have an actual output. So you just subtract both of this and square it. You will get the squared loss. Okay, and then 1 by n we are doing because we want mean squared loss. So that is why 1 by n. Okay, and n is the yeah, we have in the output layer we have this k neuron, so that is why g equals to 1 to k. Okay, and this is the number of inputs given to it, so that is why I equals to 1 to n. So I equals to 1 to n whenever we are doing, and then we are 1 by n, that is we want to calculate the mean squared error, so that is why we are dividing it by n. So this is our objective function, or it can be called as the loss function. Okay, so generally we write our objective function as minimize the L theta. Okay, someone is joining. Okay, so we have to minimize it because loss function or error function we want to minimize as possible. So this is the 5 components of the supervised learning. So again I am repeating, the first component is the data. Okay, the data you are providing, as this is a supervised learning, so you have to provide the labeled data, so that is data. Okay, and then you have the model. This is the model. You can see this is the model. We are as we are using a neural network, this is the model. And then we have parameters. Parameters are nothing but your weight and bias. Then we have the algorithm. What is the algorithm? Algorithm is used to learn the parameters. Okay, so that is the thing. So algorithm is used to learn the parameters. So in neural network we use this back propagation algorithm, and it is based on the gradient descent. Okay, and fifth component is the objective or loss function. So in the output layer we will get a predicted output, but we also have a real output. So the predicted output minus the real output squared is the squared error, and if we do 1 by n, that is number of input neurons, so that will we will get a mean squared error. Okay, so is it clear to all of you what are the 5 components of supervised learning? Clear, right? Okay, it is clear, I hope. And then we will be seeing learning parameters of the feed forward neural network. Okay, why it is called feed forward neural network? Because the information is going from input to output layer. You can see the arrows, it is in the forward direction, so that is why feed forward neural network. But here we will be learning our parameter with something called back propagation, that is based on gradient descent. Why it is called back propagation? Because we will be seeing it that whenever we are actually calculating this yeah, you all know what is a gradient descent, right? Last class only we have learned this theta t1 t plus 1, that will be equal to theta t minus eta delta theta t. What is this theta t plus 1? This is the weight and bias. Theta is the combination of weight and bias. So theta t plus 1 is the combination of weight and bias in the t plus 1 iteration. Theta t is the weight and bias in the previous iteration, that is t plus 1 minus 1, that is t8 iteration. And eta theta t eta delta theta t is the gradient of the theta, that is your weight and bias, that is del by del w1 and del by del b. Okay, these are the two things combined that forms the delta theta t. Okay, so this is only about this gradient descent that we are applying on the weights and bias, and we want to learn it. Why we want to learn it? Because our objective is to minimize the loss function. So if I just draw a 2D graph, this is a 2D graph. So let's say this is L and let's say this is theta. So we want to reach a theta at which our L will be least as possible. So to learn this, we are using this algorithm called as gradient descent, and this together, this algorithm is known as back propagation. So whenever we will solve it, we will see more about this back propagation. Okay, so is it clear, this thing? We are just using gradient descent to learn the parameter, because we have two kind of learnable parameter. One is weight and another one is bias. Okay, and together weight and bias is denoted here by theta. Okay, so is it clear to all of you? Is it clear? Okay. Okay, so yeah, so another thing is choice of activation function for different layer. I have told you that this light blue color is the pre-activation input to the neuron, but this dark blue color or this dark green color is the post activation. So how it got so what is the post activation? Post activation means we are applying an activation function to the pre activated input and we are getting a output. So that is why we need a activation function in each neuron. So this activation in each neuron of the hidden layer and output layer, not the input layer, because the input layer the feed or the input we have, we directly put it in the neurons. We don't apply any activation function in the input layer, but we put the activation, we use activation function in the hidden layer or the output layer. Okay, so there are choice of activation function for different layer. So activation function for hidden layer, we generally use the sigmoid, logistic or tanh activation function. Okay, this all are sigmoid function only. What are sigmoid function? The function that will give a S-shaped curve, that is known as sigmoid function. And this logistic and tanh are two important function of this sigmoid function. Okay, so why we use this? Because there are different reasons. One is non-linearity, because we want non-linearity, because the more non-linearity we will have, the more complex pattern we can learn from the input function. So that is why we use this logistic and tanh function. Another thing, this sigmoid function, as it forms a S curve, okay, so it is differentiable at every point. Unlike your step function or everything, where you will have different step, there are some points at which the function is non-differentiable. In sigmoid function we don't have this constraint, so that is why we use this sigmoid function to have the differentiability. Why we want differentiability? Because whenever we will be applying our gradient descent, we want our this function to be differentiable, otherwise we cannot use the gradient descent algorithm. So that is why differentiability is another factor. Third is normalizing effect. Whenever we are talking about the sigmoid function, it generally will give you your output from 0 to 1 or -1 to 1. So it it has a normalized effect on the input. The input can be very big, and also different input can take different values, but whenever we will be applying it a sigmoid or tanh function, it will be normalized in a particular range, like 0 to 1 or -1 to 1, like that. So that is another thing. And there is information bottleneck. The bounded nature of the sigmoid and tanh function prevents excessive growth of activation, which helps in stabilize the training. So this is related to this normalizing effect only, because if we use some function that will give the output bigger than this, then we can have problem in stabilizing the training. So that is why this is the same point like normalization effect only. Okay, so that is why activation function that we are using in hidden layer are sigmoid, logistic or tanh. Okay, that is sigmoid family only, mostly sigmoid family. That are the two important function, logistic and tanh. Okay, now what are the activation function that we use for output layer? So whenever we are getting the output, there are two kind of problem. One kind of problem is known as the classification problem, and that kind of problem is known as the regression problem. What is the classification problem? Where we get output as a class, like which team will win, A will win, B will win, C will win, like that. So that this is the classification problem. And the type of problem is known as regression problem. Regression problem, like you are predicting the rainfall of a particular region, so how much millimeter of rainfall, like this. So this is a regression problem. So these are the two type of thing, whether it is a classification task or whether it is a regression task. For this classification task, we use a function called as softmax function, and this is the formula of the softmax function. Softmax of the particular class will be e to the power zi. I is the ith class, divided by sigma j from I to n, and then e to the power zj. Okay, so that is the okay, someone is joining. So that is the formula of the this softmax function. And the thing is the linear function. Okay, for this regression task, we always want our linear function. Okay, why we want softmax function? Because we want our output to convert in a probability type of term, and the softness, the range of the softness is from 0 to 1. So it generally like probability, what is the range of probability? That is from 0 to 1. So for each class it will give an output from 0 to 1. So by that you can classify the output well. So that is the use of softmax function. But whenever we are doing the regression task, we don't want this softmax function, because we don't want probability, we want the real value. So that is why we use a linear function, linear activation function. Linear activation function, whatever the result you are getting, so that is a linear activation function. There are other linear activation function also, like rectilinear ReLU, rectilinear linear output, or linear unit, ReLU. Okay, ReLU, what does ReLU do? All the negative value that is coming, it will be giving output 0, and all the positive values it will coming, it will give the value as it is. So that is ReLU. So any linear okay. Okay. So any linear function you can use for this regression task. Okay, so why not use hidden layer activation for output? Because sigmoid or tanh in output layer would limit the value, fixed value, from 0 to 1, and which is a problem. And another ReLU can be ReLU in output layer could allow unbounded positive values, but wouldn't work well with this classification problem. ReLU can be used for this regression problem, but it cannot be used for this classification problem. So that are the reason why we do not use this sigmoid function as the sigmoid function or tanh function in the activation function of output layer, and why we don't use this linear function in the activation function of hidden layers. So these are some of the reasons. So is this slide clear to all of you?
Sir,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
is pre-activation function? Like, what is function there in the pre-activation? Quite didn't understand that part.
Pre-activation function, there is no pre-activation function, there is an activation function. Pre-activation, we are just summing the weight into input plus bias. So this part, whatever you are seeing, this is the pre-activation part. Okay, the one you are
Okay,
seeing
so
in
it's
the,
not pre-activation function, it is just pre-activation.
yeah,
Correct?
pre-activation, pre-activation
Yes, sure.
input, you can say anything you can say, but it is not a function. So that this is the normal characteristics of any neuron, any maculobit neuron, or you can say sigmoid neuron or perceptron. This is the common characteristic. What we are doing, we are just not this maculopits neuron. In maculopits neuron, we do not have this weights, we just have input only. In perceptron, we have this weight, so Wi into the input plus the bias. So that will give the pre-activation input of this neuron. Okay, and after we get the pre-activation input, we put an activation function on the pre-activation input, and we get a output of this neuron. Okay, that is H1. So
Sure, sir. Thank you. Just got a little confused there.
the thing we are learning is the activation function we are putting on the pre-activation input. Okay, so that is the thing we are learning. Okay, so hidden layer, we generally use the sigmoid, logistic, or tanh function. In this activation function for this output layer, that is the last layer. In the output layer, we want a result. So we want a result in term of either classification or regression. So if we have a classification problem, we use softmax function. If we have a regression problem, we use some linear activation function, like this any linear function, or ReLU, or anything you can put. Okay, so that is the thing. So is it clear to all of you? Any doubt regarding this? Clear, right? Okay. Okay. So now choice of loss function. We just understood what is the choice of activation function in hidden layer and the output layer. Now in the output layer and the true value of the output, the function we are using is the loss function that we have just seen in this section. This is the loss function. Okay, so what type of loss function we use for classification and regression? Regression, we can use the mean squared error. This is the mean squared error, so that is yi is the real output minus yi predicted. That can be reversed. You can also tell yi predicted minus yi, because we are squaring the thing, so we do not have any issue whether yi predicted comes first or yi come first. Okay, yi predicted is the predicted from the neuron, yi is the actual output. Okay, so this is the thing, and we are dividing it by number of points that we are using for this yi. So this is 1 by n yi minus yi predicted whole square. So that is the n sigma. We are doing this for all the points. So that is the squared error. So we use this squared error or the mean squared error for this regression task. Okay, but we do not use this. Why we are using this? Because it measures the distance between predictions and actual values. That is how much far your predicted value and the actual value is. So that it calculates it. Second thing, it is differentiable and convex. Okay, what is differentiable and convex? This function is properly differentiable. Also, it has a single global minimum. Okay, so that is why we are using this mean squared error value for this regression task. But in case of classification task, what we are using something called entropy. Okay, or cross entropy loss, to be precise, cross entropy loss. So what is this cross entropy loss? In whenever we are doing this classification, we have this entropy formula. What the entropy does? It does the same thing. It differentiates between the predicted and actual value. But here this is the formula, because here the thing comes in probability kind of terms. So that is why we just use this entropy based loss for classification rather than this mean squared loss. So this is the formula, yi and yi predicted, log yi predicted, this is the predicted and this is the actual. Yi is the actual and yi is the yi hat is the predicted. Okay, so yi is the true class level, 1 or 1 for correct or 0 otherwise, and yi predicted is the predicted probability of the correct class that we will be getting from a softmax function. Okay, so that is entropy based loss for classification. Reasons for using this: it has a probabilistic interpretation. Second thing, this logarithmic nature magnifies the incorrect prediction, because here unlike here we have correct values, right? But here we do not have correct values. We have thing in terms of probability. So that is why this log term is more important here, because by this log term only we are magnifying our probability thing to get to have a more knowledge about error. And second, it is derived from the information theory. This cross entropy measures the distance between two probability, true and predicted probability. Predicted probability, whatever you will be getting answer from your output of the neuron, and yi is the true probability or true probability of the correct class. Okay, so this is the thing. So these are the reasons we use cross entropy in case of classification. And if I present this table, so we have two things. One is this classification and regression. Whenever we are talking about regression, this is the real value. That means this is the regression part. Okay, this is the regression part. And whenever we are talking about probability, this is the classification part. So whenever our case is regression, we use the output activation function as linear, and we use the loss function as squared error. Like this is the squared error, and in previous slide we have seen we use a linear function for this regression task, linear activation function of the output layer for this regression task. But another thing, we have probability. That means we are doing the classification. Whenever we are doing classification, the activation function we are using is this softmax function. Okay, and loss function we are using is entropy based or cross entropy. Okay, so this is the thing. So let me summarize this. See, we have two choices. One is choice of activation. Okay, someone is joining. Okay, so we have two choices. One is choice of activation function. Now the activation function will be in the hidden layer and the output layer. So whenever we are talking about activation function of the hidden layer, we use the sigmoid function, sigmoid any logistic function or tanh function that we use. Okay. And whenever we are talking about activation function of the output layer, so for whenever we are talking about the output layer, we have two kind of distinction. One distinction is the regression task and the distinction is the classification task. So in regression task, the we use a normal linear activation function, but in classification task we use probability based classification function known as softmax function. Okay, so this is about activation function, choice of activation function. Now what is the choice of loss function? Whenever we are talking about loss, so we are only pointing out to the output layer. The loss has nothing to do with the hidden layer, it is pointing towards the output layer. So loss function, again whenever we are putting on the output layer, we need to again segregate our task into two parts. One is regression and the one is classification. So whenever we have a regression problem, we use the mean squared error loss. That is yi minus yi predicted whole square divided by summation of all for all the points and divided by 1 by n. That is the mean squared error loss. And whenever we are talking about the classification problem, the loss function we are using is the loss function we are using is this cross entropy loss. Okay, so this is the formula of the cross entropy. So this is the summary of choice of activation function and choice of loss function. So is it clear to all of you? Clear, right? No doubt in this? Okay. Now, now we will be seeing a back propagation intuition example. Okay, so back propagation, this is the normal feed forward network. So we have one neuron in the input layer, and similarly, we are only talking about the one neuron in each layer to have a simplicity in understanding. So whenever we will be having our loss, so we will be whenever we will be calculating doing this back propagation, so we have to calculate gradient. So we have two gradient. One is del L by del W, or the gradient according to the weight, and we have del L by del L by del B, that is gradient with respect to bias. Okay, so let's see how it is calculated, how the gradient with respect to this weight is calculated. So whenever we will be calculating dl by dw del L by del W 111, so how we are calculating? So now we have to apply our chain rule. Okay, why we have to apply our chain rule? Because there are so many function in between. There will be an activation, there will be a loss function here, then there will be an output function here, or the activation of the output neuron here, then we will have the activation of this hidden neuron, then we will have the activation of this hidden neuron, and then we will be reaching our weight W11. So we have to apply our chain rule. So how we will be applying this? Actually we have to calculate del L by del W11, but directly we cannot go because there are so many function in between. So what we have to do, first we have to go by this, that is del L by del y hat, and after del y hat we have to go to this AL11, that is input of the output layer, and then we have to go from AL11 to the output of the previous hidden layer, or output of the output of the previous hidden layer, and from this output of the previous hidden layer, input of the hidden layer, from this input of the hidden layer to this input of the hidden layer to this output of the hidden layer to this input of the hidden layer, and this input of the hidden layer to this input of the hidden layer to this output of the previous hidden layer, and this output of the previous hidden layer to output of the previous hidden layer, and then from this output of the previous output of this hidden layer to input of this hidden layer, and from this input of the hidden layer we can directly go to this weight. So we have to just apply a chain rule. because we cannot directly reach it because we have so many function in between. So just like differentiation, we do this differentiation of any you all have done differentiation in 11, 10, 12, right? So if we have so much complex function, we apply this chain rule. First we solve for one function, then we solve for another function, then we solve for another function. So similarly like this. So similarly here also we cannot directly calculate del L by del W11. We have to go by sequence from here to here, 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 and then from here to here. Okay, so these are the steps you have to take in. So this is the back propagation institution. So this is a very simple network. So we will be doing our calculation for a complex network also, but this is how we have to solve our thing. Okay, so is it clear to all of you? Why we cannot go directly? Because there are so many function in between, so that is why we cannot go directly. We have to jump from one step to another step, another step to another step, like that we have to jump. We have to apply chain rule, and then we can calculate the derivative of loss with respect to that weight. Okay, so is it clear to all of you? Clear, right? Any doubt? Okay, so we will be solving one question also, so it will be better understood there if it is not clear also. Yeah, so this slide nothing important. Yeah, so whenever we are solving this, there are three types of gradient that is important. One, gradient with respect to the output unit. Okay, so this is the output unit, and yeah, this is the output unit. So gradient with respect to this output unit. Okay, and then we have gradient with respect to hidden unit, like these are the hidden units. So we will have gradient with respect to hidden unit, and last we will have gradient with respect to weights and biases. That is how we can calculate gradient with respect to weight and biases. We will have to consider this two only, that is gradient with respect to output unit and gradient with respect to hidden unit. So this is the thing. Same thing if we want del L theta by del W11. So this weight, if we want to, okay, let's remove this. If we want to calculate the derivative of the loss function with respect to this weight, so again we have to go from chain to chain. How we will have to go from chain to chain? If this is the output or loss function, log while I think is the output function. So we have to jump from here to here, then here to here, then here to here, then here to here, then here to here, and then here to here, and then finally we can go to here. Okay, so we have to apply this chain rule only. Okay, so in between we will have gradient with respect to the output unit, we will have gradient with respect to the hidden unit, and finally we will have gradient with respect to weights. So that is how we have to calculate our del L by del W. Okay, so this is the thing. So in case of simple network also, we have to go from simple network of one neuron also, we have to go from layer to layer. Here also we have to go from layer to layer only. Okay, so this is the only thing to show you this. Okay, so is it clear to all of you? We will be solving one question also. Okay, so it is clear to all of you, and then yeah. As in between, whenever we are doing, we have to do whenever you have to do del H2 by del A2, let's say. So what you have to do, you have to derivate your activation function. So that is why it is important to know the derivation of this derivative of this activation function for hidden and the output layer, so that we have to understand it. So if we talk about hidden layer, so hidden layer, there are two important functions that are used. One is the logistic function and another one is the tan H function, and this is the derivative g dash if z is the function of sigma z, that is the logistic function, so g dash z is the derivative of this logistic function, and that will be gj 1 minus gj. Okay, that you can just take out your copy pen and you can solve later. But this is the thing about derivative of the logistic function. Similarly, derivative of tan h function is 1 minus gz whole square. So these are the two activation function that are used. So these are the derivative of it. Now what are the activation function of the output layer? Output layer, we are using two type of activation function. If we have a okay, someone is joining. Yeah, so if we have a regression problem, we use a linear function. So linear function, it is very easy to have derivative of a linear function, that will be constant only. Okay, so this is okay. So that will be constant only, because you will find f dash x will be equal to dy dy dx of ax plus b, that will be equal to a only. That constant attached to your linear input, that will be equal to derivative of a linear function. Now about softmax function. Softmax function, we have two type of classes. One class, when I is equal to j, that means your winner with respect to the your winner with respect to the true class, that will be given by this si 1 minus si, when your winner will be your class. When your winner will not be your class, for that this will be your derivative of the softmax function. Softmax function, we have to divide it into two cases. One, when I equals to j, that means when your winner is your class only, and when winner is not your class, then we have to do this to find the derivative of the softmax function. So this thing you can just okay. Hello.
Sorry to interrupt in between, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
What J represents? I is the class. What is the J?
J is the total number of class, and I is the winner class, that you can tell. Okay, J is the total number of class, and I is the I represents the probability for class I. And see, J, that like we will have 5 classes, so all second, third, fourth, and fifth will be represented by J, and I is your winner class. Okay, so one is, if one is the
Sure, sir.
winner,
Thank
yeah,
you.
like that. So you can check, you can go home and check this slide, and you can just solve by your hand, and you will get this. Okay, so it is not that difficult. Now so this is about derivative of activation function for your hidden and output layer. Okay, so this is additional slide. Whatever the function you will come in between, you have to just derivate it. So no need to also remember this. If you can derivate it at the spot, then that is also fine. Okay, so this I have only kept for your own understanding. Okay, now we will have a numerical example. Okay, so this is the numerical example. This is a neural network. You can see figure below shows the schematic view of a neural network consisting of 3 layers. Okay, we will have 3 layers. So this layer is the input layer, this middle layer is the hidden layer, and this layer is the output layer. So the neuron line on the input, hidden, and output layer have a transfer function represented by y equals to x. So input layer, we don't require any activation function, but also it has been given here y equals to x. That means whatever the input, that will only be activated. So it is not required actually, but here it has been given, so just follow it. And then the neuron in the hidden layer will have this activation function 1 by 1 plus e to the power minus x. This is the sigmoid logistic function. And then this third layer, or the output layer, has this activation function y equals to e to the power x minus e to the power minus x by e to the power x plus e to the power minus x. In general problem, we don't use this type of activation function, but as it is has been given in the question, we have to follow it. In general, we use either linear function, or we use this softmax function in the activation layer of the output. But here it is okay. Any doubt? Okay, no doubt. So here as it has been given, so we have to follow it. This is the activation function of the output layer. So there are two inputs, namely I1 and I2, and one output. This O is the output. The connecting weights between the input and the hidden layer is given by V matrix. This is the V matrix, and those between hidden and output layer is given by this W matrix. Okay, the initial values of the weights are assumed to be, this is the initial value of the weight, that is V11. V11 is the weight connecting this input layer first neuron to the first layer of the hidden layer. So that is why V11. This will be V12. This will be V13. Similarly, this will be V21, V22, V23. So that is how this matrix has been written. Similarly, the weights connecting to the hidden layer and the output layer are given by this weight W, and that has been given by W11, weight connecting the first neuron of the hidden layer and the first neuron of the output layer, that is W11. Weight connecting the second neuron of the hidden layer and the first neuron of the output layer is given by W21, and weight connecting third neuron of the hidden layer and first neuron of the, or one neuron only we have output layer, so third neuron of the hidden layer and first neuron of the output layer, that is W31. So this is the structure, and initially our input is this 0.5, that means I1 value is 0.5, I2 value is minus 0.4, and the true output that is 0.15. This is not the predicted we have to calculate according to our neural network. This is the true output. Okay, so that is y, not y hat we have to calculate. This is the y given here. Okay, so this is the thing, and another thing, using an incremental mode of training for the case shown in the table, calculate the changes in v, that is del v and del w value during the back propagation of error. The learning rate is given, eta is given, that is 0.2. So show only for one iteration. So after one iteration we have to show what is the changes in value for this weight v vector and this weight w vector. So is the question clear to all of you? Any doubt in the question, please ask. It is very important. Any doubt in the question, what we are asked and what we have to calculate? Is it clear what we have to calculate? We have to calculate
Yeah,
the,
so I have one question here.
yeah,
See,
please.
there are two things, this chain rule and activation functions, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So, Wx plus b. What
yeah.
is the role of where activation function comes into picture?
Activation after your summation has been done, that is wx plus b has been done, so that is the pre activation input. So once we get the pre activation input, we put it in the activation function, that is g of whatever you have calculated, wx plus b, and after that we get the output of the neuron. Okay, so there are, okay, let me show you again. So there are two things. This is the neuron, right? This is the pre activation part. Okay, this is the pre activation part, pre-activation pre, okay, and this is the post-activation part, or the output of the neuron. Post-activation part, pre-activation part, we are doing wx plus b, that is weight into the input plus the bias. This is the pre-activation part, and once we get this, let it be z. Okay, let it be z. So okay, let it be z. So z equals to wx plus b, and now after post activation, this is our activation function, g is the activation function, so just we will put the value of z in g function. So gz is your output of the neuron, or the post activation output you can say, or just you can say the output of the neuron. Okay, clear?
Okay, got it. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so is this question clear to all of you? What has been asked in the question, what you have to do? Very important. Is it clear to all of you? Kindly you can ask me if it is not clear. Please, you can ask me if it is not clear. I am repeating again and again. So anyone, any doubt, you can ask. Okay, so I hope this question is clear.
Sir, what we have to find, just explain that part, like using an incremental mode of training
Yeah,
for that.
yeah, we have to find our this weights after one iteration. Okay, this weights
Okay,
is
and
given
the
in the
table represents the given table.
given table, this table, serial number 1 etc, right? this
Yes,
table
yes, yes.
this table is the input that is given in the first iteration. So I1 value will be 0.5, I2 value will be minus 0.4, and this is the real output, that is 0.15. Okay, now we have to find the predicted output y bar by our this feed forward neural network, and whenever we are getting y bar or y hat, we have to just calculate the loss function and then we have to solve the thing. Okay, is it clear?
Okay,
Sure, yes,
one
sir.
more thing. So when we take a derivative we take to understand what is the loss value, right?
Derivative, see, gradient descent, you know gradient descent, what is
Uh,
gradient descent? Theta t plus 1 equal to theta t minus eta del of theta, right? This is
okay,
clear, right? So this del theta is nothing but the gradient of your parameters. What are parameters? We have two parameters, one is weight and another one is bias. So this delta theta or del theta, that is coming at the last of it, that in that our derivative will be used, that is del L by del W and del L by del B. Okay,
okay. But in, so that depends on how many iteration we perform.
yeah, this is
While
for one iteration, and then again you have to perform again and again to get the desired output. Our goal is to reach the minimum loss. So for that you have to see how many iteration we will take. Our goal is to reach here, right? This is the L and this is the theta. So we have to find an optimal theta for which our loss will be minimum. Not for this question we only have to perform our
okay,
calculation for one iteration, but generally we have to find a theta for which our loss is minimum. Okay,
okay, yeah, got it.
okay, so I hope this question is clear to all of you. Now we will be seeing how to calculate it. So first, in this feed forward neural network, as it is a feed forward neural network, we have to calculate input and output of each neuron. How input and output is calculated? Input of the neuron will be like this is the thing. So we have two parts, right? This is known as input of the neuron and this is known as output of the neuron. This is I of the neuron and this is O of the neuron. So for each neuron we have to calculate what is the input and what is the output. So very easy, how we can calculate this input and output? For this first layer, our output of this neuron will be equal to input, because we are applying this function y equals to x, and also we do not have any weight. So our I, okay, so there are two parts. So if I divide this, so I am telling this as I1, okay, that is input part, and I01, that is the output part of the first neuron. Okay, so this part I am calling it, like if I divide this first neuron, so this half I am calling it I1 and this half I am calling it I01. Okay, so is it clear to all of you? So for this neuron and this neuron, we can easily calculate the I1 and I01. What is the I1? I1 for this first is 0.5 and I2 for this first for this second neuron is minus 0.4, and our I01 will be equal to this I1, because y equals to x function is given. So I01 will be equal to I1, that is 0.5, and I01 will be equal to I02 will be equal to I2, that will be equal to minus 0.4. So is it clear for the first layer? Clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Very much clear, right? Anyone, any doubt what I just told? Should I repeat? No, right? Okay. So and this second layer or this hidden layer, also again we have to divide our neuron into two parts. One is this, if I tell it this for this neuron, this has been represented by H. Okay, so H I1, one part will be called as HI1 and the part will be called HO1. Similarly HI2 HO2, HI3 HO3. So HI3 will be equal to, what is HI3 will be equal to? HI3, like this, sorry, HI1, let's calculate for HI1. So HI1 will be equal to summation of weight into the input plus bias. Okay, and bias, any bias is given here? I think bias is not given here. Let me check. I don't think any bias is given here. No bias is given here. So let's say bias equal to 0. So this B equals to 0 always. So HI1 will be equal to summation of W1 w1, or in this case the weights here are called v. Okay, so let me see it as v. So sigma of v x plus b, so that will be your answer. So what is sigma of vx? See, hi1, if I take this neuron, so it has the input coming from first neuron also and second neuron also, so that is why that will be equal to v11 into v11 into io1 plus this is the vi2 into vi2 v sorry v yeah v sorry, this is 1 1. Okay, v11 into
V12.
v11 into io1 and v12 into v12 into io2. So this is for hi1. Sorry for my writing, but this is the thing. So is it clear to all of you? So again I am repeating, for this neuron, if I take the input portion of this neuron, that will be equal to sigma wx plus b, right? Here we do not have bias, so let's forget about bias. Like here I don't think we have bias. No, we do not have bias, so let's forget about bias. This b is 0. So we have to do sigma w into x. Now the weight here has been denoted by v. So that is why sigma vx only, or b is 0. Now sigma vx, that means v11, because v11 into io1 plus v12 into io2 will be equal to your input portion of the hi1, that is hi1. And how we can calculate ho2, sorry ho1, how we can calculate ho1 we can calculate if I put this hi1 into this function, that is this function. So 1
Sigma.
by 1 plus e to the power minus hi1. So this is your ho1. Similarly, you can calculate hi2, ho2, hi3, ho3. Similarly, you can calculate the this if I tell this output is given by O. So OI1, similarly you can calculate the OI1 and OI1 and O1. Okay, similarly you can calculate OI1 and OO1. Okay, so is it clear? How can we find out this? Like this I1 and IO1 and I1 is equal, because here the function is y equals to x, so that is why. But ho1 will be equal to 1 by 1 plus e to the power minus hi1, because will have activation function this in the middle hidden layer, and in the output layer we have this activation function. So that is why o1 will be equal to oi1. OI1 will be put into this function, and we will be getting the OO1. And OO1 is nothing but our predicted output. Okay, the OO1 will be our predicted output. Now we have this is our predicted output, and we have our real output. What is the real output? Real output is given 0.15. So we can also find out the loss. Loss is nothing but equals to 1 by 2 TO minus OO1 whole square. So just we can find out the loss. So is the calculation clear to all of you? How we find the input part and output part for each neuron? Is it clear to all of you?
So this is when we want, if we want a linear output, right? I mean, if
Yeah. This is
simulation
squared.
output
Yeah, this
means
is
that
squared
is for
function.
MSC.
Yeah. We want the this is for when we want the regression problem. Okay, as nothing is mentioned in the problem, whether it is classification or regression, so let's take it as a regression problem. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So up to this, is it clear to all of you? Please ask if it is not clear. One by one we will move. Please ask if it is not clear. Please. Any doubt?
Yeah. So the activation function for hidden layer and output layer.
Yeah.
With respect to that,
The
so
activation function
what
for
is the
the,
intuition? I understand this. Whatever output we want at the output layer,
yeah,
based on that we will define it for output layer. But you have this exponential exponential
that is
minus
given in
x.
the question. We do not have to understand it. Why it is given in the question? Whatever we have been asked, we will do it. Okay. So it has been given in the question. Here we are not applying our brain and anything. The
No, no. I
activation.
mean, I just want to understand in general, like, is there any intuition between
Yeah,
why
that has been told to you, right?
this is
What
covered?
uh, what what is the choice of activation function for different layer?
No,
This is
that is
clear.
clear for output layer. It's clear for
Yeah.
hidden layer. There are various activation layers
Yeah,
for
for
hidden.
hidden layer we generally use this logistic function or tanh function because of this 4 point I have just discussed, because non-linearity, because whenever you will be applying this logistic and tanh function, one thing is non-linearity will be introduced in the output, so it will help to understand more complex pattern from the input. Second thing is differentiability, because these all are sigmoid functions, so as shaped curve, so it is differentiable at all point. And third, an important point, it will have a normalization effect, because the input can be very large, but what it will do, it will normalize the thing, so that is why it has a normalized effect. So that is why we are using this, mostly we are using this sigmoid logistic or tanh function. Okay, that is a sigmoid function only. Logistic and tanh function are two functions of the sigmoid function only. Okay.
Yeah, this is common for all three. But why specific sigmoid or logistic or tanh? Is there any reasoning behind using these three different activation function? Because
Okay, so
I understand this is common.
in between,
The common reason.
like why not logistic, why not tanh, like this,
Uh,
right?
uh,
That is not that we decide on based on what we want to learn basically, because this logistic
okay.
function has a range from 0 to 1, and this tanh function has a range from -1 to 1. So according to our inputs and etc we decide this. Okay.
So we have to try and figure out which is better for our
Yeah,
application.
yeah, yeah, that we have to figure out. Okay.
Okay.
So this is the thing, so let me go back to our question. So first step is clear, right? To get the input and output portion of each neuron, and also the error or the loss function. First step is clear to all of you, right? Any confusion in the first step? No confusion, right? Clear, right? How we just calculated it? Okay. Okay, so now let us do the main thing, that is we want to find the del w11 or del of all the weights, because we want to apply our back propagation algorithm or this gradient descent, and for this back propagation algorithm or this gradient descent we have to calculate the del of this. Okay, so how this del w11 is calculated? Del w11 will be equal to minus delta minus eta. Eta is the learning rate that has been given in the question, that is 0.2 del E by del w11. Now again the same thing, we cannot directly calculate del E by del w11. How we can calculate del E by del w11? We have to apply the chain rule. So we have to calculate del E by del w11, right? So del E by this one. So from del E we have to calculate to the output of this function. From this output function we have to calculate we have to go to input of this neuron, and from this input of this neuron we can go to this weight. So that is why we have just del E by del w11 will be equal to del E by, first we are going to the output of this neuron, and from output we are going to input of this neuron, and from the input of this neuron we are going to the weight of this weight associated to this neuron. Okay, so we are applying chain rule, because directly we cannot calculate this, so we are just applying the chain rule. Now whenever we are applying the chain rule we have to derive it, that is what is del E by del O11. So del E is nothing but our this function, okay, that is E equals to half TO minus O01 square. TO is the true output and O01 is the predicted output. So just you have to differentiate it, and this is the differentiation result. Similarly you have to differentiate del O01 by del OI1, and this will come, because here we have this tan h function here, e to the power x minus e to the power minus x divided by e to the power x plus e to the power minus x. So again when you will differentiate you will get this. And lastly whenever you will differentiate del OI1 by del W11, that will be equal to your HO1, because HO1 into W11 is your OI1. So this is a simple thing. Okay, so this three thing you have to combine it, and then only you can calculate the del E by del W11. So once you calculate the del E by del W11, you can calculate the delta of W11. Delta of W11 is nothing but minus of this thing, what it is called, this is called this learning rate, into this del E by del W11. So you can calculate the delta W11. Similarly, you can calculate delta W21 and delta W31. So is it clear? Clear, right?
Yes.
Any doubt? Is it clear how we calculated this? Is it really clear? Let me erase this. So is it clear? We want to calculate the del E by del W11. Okay, so E is somewhere here. Okay, and this O has two things, O1, and this OI1. This is the OI1 and OO1. OO1 is the this part and OI1 is the this part, and then we have W11. So directly we cannot calculate del E by del W11. Directly we can calculate. So first we have to go from E to OO1. Okay, then OO1 to OI1, then OI1 to W11. Okay, and similarly if we want to calculate del E by del W 21, how we can calculate it? We have to go from E to OI1, OI1 to OO1 to OI1, and OI1 to this W21. Similarly, for this del E by del 31, okay, del W31. So is it clear to all of you? Clear, right? We are just applying this chain rule only, but we cannot directly go. We have to go to the chain rule, because in between we have function in between. So that is why we have to go from one part to the another part to the next part to the finally weight. So is it clear now to everyone? Clear, right? Okay, this is
Yes, sir.
clear. Okay, so now we have to calculate delta V11 and delta whatever the V's we have. W we have calculated, W11 W11 we have, delta W11 we have calculated, delta W21 we have calculated, delta W31 we have calculated. Now we have to calculate this delta V's. Delta V with delta E by delta V we have to calculate. So how we can calculate the del E by, how we can calculate the del E by del V11? How we can calculate? First we have to go from E to OO1, from OO1 to OI1, from OI1 to this is the HO1, and then HO1 to HI1, and then from HI1 to V11. Okay, so again I am telling you how, what is the part. First we have to go from E to first we have to go from E to O1, from O1 to OI1, from OI1 to this HO1, from HO1 to HI1, from HI1 to V11. Similarly, we have to calculate for all the weights. So that is only, it has been written, del E by del V11 will be equal to del E by O1, O1 to OI1, OI1 to HO1, HO1 to HI1, and finally from HI1 to del V11. Okay, so here we have to calculate two another step. Up to this step we have just done it, but now we have to calculate this two step more. So we have to find out what is this del HO1 by del HI1. So del HO1 by del HI1 is nothing but derivative of the activation function in this layer. Okay, so what is the activation function in this layer? This is the activation function in this layer. So you have to just derivate it. So whenever you will derivate it, you will get this. And then del HI1 by del V1 will be equal to IO1. So similarly, you can calculate this for this del V12, V13, then V21, V22, and V23. So whenever you will be calculate this, you will get all the dels. Okay. So now you can okay, Okay, now you can okay, how is the thing? Yeah, now you can have an updated weight. What will be the updated weight at this iteration? That will be equal to previous weight plus del of this. Okay, so what is the previous weight? Previous weight here is like let me show you for W11. Previous weight was 0.1 and our del W11 was coming to be minus 0.004526. So just have to add it. That is the previous weight, the W naught plus del W naught. So this is the W naught we already know that is 0.1, and we got the del W naught, that is 0.004526. Just add it and you will get this, that is 0.095474. Similarly for W21, W31. Similarly V11 we know, delta V11 we just have calculated. What is the V11? V11 was 0.2 and delta V21 we have just calculated, that is delta V11 we have just calculated, and that is coming to be this minus 0.00110. So this this 0.2 minus this 0.2 0.2 plus this 0.2 plus of minus 0.000110, and that will be coming to be this 0.1999890. Similarly for V12, V13, V2 and V22 and V23. So that is how we have updated all the weights in the first iteration. Okay, so is it clear to all of you what has been done in the question? Any doubt, any portion, any doubt, please ask. You can please ask, no problem. I know this is a new thing to all of you, so you can please ask anywhere, any doubt, you can please ask. So all knew how to apply this back propagation, right? All understood it, how to apply this back propagation for updation of weights. Okay, so response is positive, so I hope you understand it. So even if you don't understand it, please I will be giving all the slides and everything in by that folder. Please go through it and you will understand it. Please have a pen copy with you and solve it. You will understand it fully. Okay. So by this this is the theory part, and now we will be going to the numerical part, going to the question answer part. Okay. So topic on which the week 1 assignment is discussed: feed-forward neural network, learning parameter, choice of activation function at different layer, choice of loss function, and back propagation. Okay. So again in each question I will be putting the question first. We will first discuss what could be the answer, and then we will discuss the true answer. Okay. So this is the first question. Use the following data to answer the question 1 to 3. So this is the neural network. You have three neurons in the input layer. You have 6 input in the first hidden layer. In the second hidden layer you have 2 input, and in the output layer you have two neuron. Okay, so again I am repeating: 3 neuron at the input layer, 6 neuron in the first hidden layer, 4 neuron in the second hidden layer, and 2 neuron in the output layer. Okay, and every neuron is connected to every other neuron through this weights. This network, you can see this, these are nothing but weights associated with it. So this is the thing. So what is the question in the diagram? Okay, no need to see this. Okay, so choose the correct dimension of W1 and A1. So can anyone tell what is the correct dimension of W1 and A1? What is the W1 and what is the A1? Here this is the choose the this is the W1. Okay, and this is the W2, and this is the A1. A1 is this or this? A1 is I think, yeah, this is the A1. Anywhere it is written, yeah, W1 is the matrix, W1 is the matrix, A1 and H1. Yeah, this is the X layer, this is the A1 layer, this is the X layer, this is the A1 layer, and this is the H1 layer, and this is the O layer. Okay, so this is the X layer, A1 layer, H1 layer, and the OH layer. Okay, so we have been asked what is the matrix for, what is the dimension of matrix for W1 and A1. So any guesses for this? What is the dimension of matrix for W1 and A1? So any guesses? Am I audible to all of you?
Yes,
Yeah.
audible.
Okay, so any guesses? What are the dimension of X, W1, A1, W2, H1, O? What is the dimension of it? The matrix? No guess. Okay, strange. Uh, X1 3, 1 3, not 3 1. X will be 3 1. Okay, X will be 3 1. Okay, X matrix will have 3 1. 3 cross 1. What is the dimension of this matrix? A1 will be A1 will be or A1 matrix will have dimension 6 cross 1. What will be the dimension of this matrix? H1 matrix will have dimension, this, let me write it like this. This will have dimension, H1 matrix will have dimension 4 cross 1, and this O matrix will have dimension 2 cross 1. Okay, so these are the dimension of all the matrix. Now what is the dimension of the weight? Can anyone tell what is the dimension of W1 matrix, W2 matrix, and what is the weight here? Whatever the weight associated with, let's say, W3 matrix. Any guesses? 3 cross 6. Fatima is telling 3 cross 6. Okay. 6 cross 4. 50. 50 is what? 4 cross 2. Okay. So for W1, see how H1 is formed. H1 will be formed by, uh, there will be activation function. Let's just leave this activation function, but that will be equal to, your H1 will be equal to W1 into X1 plus bias, right? This will be your H1. So what will be if this matrix X1 is 3 cross 1? What will be this matrix to form it 6 cross 1? H1 is 6 cross 1, right? Sorry, A1. This is A1. This A1 is 6 cross 1, right? This A1 is 6 cross 1. This is clear, right? Because we have 6 neurons, so that is why 6 cross 1. A1 is 6 cross 1. And this X1 is 3 cross 1. So what will be the W1? What will be the W1? W1 will be 6 cross 3. Then only 6 cross 3, 3 cross 1, this 2 will be eliminated. So A1 will be 6 cross 1. So your W1 will be 6 cross 3. W1 will be 6 cross 3, W2 will be 4 cross 6. This W3 will be 2 cross 4. So is it clear what I am telling you?
Yes, sir.
Clear, right?
Yeah, so basically the dimension depends on uh, the immediate previous layer and the current layer, right?
Can you please repeat your question?
No, the dimension
Uh,
depends on, like, for input
yeah, yeah,
layer
yeah, yeah, yeah. Both the
divide
layer, two layers, it will be dependent.
3
What is your
multiplied by 6.
what is
Okay.
your output how many neurons will be in your output layer and how many neurons will be in your input layer? So in between weight is there, so weight will be dependent on both this layer, the output layer and also input layer. Okay, output layer means if I consider this two layer only, so your weight will be dependent on this layer and this layer. Similarly, if I tell about this, so your W2 will be dependent on this layer and this layer, and if I tell this, so your weight will be dependent on this layer and this layer. Okay.
Okay, and the individual vectors that you said, like 3 cross 1 or 6 cross 1, that is individual layers. I mean,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
is
yeah,
vector
yeah, that
size
will
of the
be
layer, vector
depending
size
on
for
your
the layer.
individual layer. So as there
Okay.
are three inputs, three neurons here, so 3 cross 1, six neurons here, so 6 cross 1, 4 neurons here, 4 cross 1, 2 neurons here, 2 cross 1. Okay.
Okay. That is means, the size of the layer.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
output size, we have to cross.
Yeah,
the
the
input
weight
layer
is
and the
given,
output
that will
layer.
be dependent on both the neurons, how many neurons in output layer and how many neurons in input layer. So is it clear to all of you?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
okay, okay, sure.
Just keep it up.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Okay. So is it clear to all of you? Kindly please tell. Is it clear to all of you what is the size or what is the dimension for each matrix? Clear, right? Okay, I hope it is clear to all of you. Okay. And why the dimension of W1 is 6 cross 3? Is it clear or not clear? Kindly say.
Yes, sir. Clear.
Clear, right? What is the dimension of this? That is W2 layer. What is the dimension of W2 layer?
4 cross 6.
4 cross 6. And what is the dimension of W3?
2 cross 4.
2 cross 4, right? Yeah, so 2 cross 4. So again I am repeating, dimension of this input layer is 3 cross 1. Dimension of this first hidden layer A1 is 6 cross 1. Dimension of this second hidden layer is 4 cross 1. Dimension of this output layer or O layer is your 2 cross 1. Dimension of this weights, this W1 weight is 6 cross 3. Dimension of this W2 weight is 4 cross 6. Dimension of this W3 weights are 2 cross 4. Okay?
Yes,
Hello,
sir. Clear.
Okay, okay.
sir.
Yeah, yeah,
I
please.
have a simple notation question.
Yeah, yeah.
Like earlier, we used to write it as W transpose X plus B.
Yeah, yeah,
Now, now we
very,
now we are not considering the transpose.
uh,
So,
yeah.
what will we be
Yeah,
considering
yeah, yeah.
for that?
Good question, good question. So earlier we are using transpose, and actually we should use transpose, but for simplicity we are not using transpose. Why we are not using transpose? You see this slide, okay? So this slide, this is the weight vector, right? W11, W12, and 13. So if I just want to calculate this H1, so H1 will be G of, you just forget this G of this G of this yeah, G of x1 into the weight associated with this, x2 into weight associated with this or this weight, or x3 into weight associated with this. Now what should be this weight written? This weight should be actually be because this first neuron is attached to this neuron, so this weights will actually be according to me, this weights will be w1 w11, w21, and w31. Okay, w11 into x1, w21 into x2, and w31 into x3. So is it right? But according to our formula, if I multiply this by this, because this will be multiplied by this, right? A row of, whenever we are multiplying the matrix, what we do is a row of the first matrix and column of the second matrix, right? So whenever we are calculating this, this will be W11 into HO1, but W12 into HO2, and W13 into HO3. That should not be happen, right? Because if I just use my brain, this will be W11, this will be W21, and this will be W31, right? But according to our calculation, this is W11, this is W12, and this is W13. So what we are doing, we are actually transposing it. Actually we should write this as W whatever this thing will be W11, W21, and W31. That should be in our row, that should be in our first row. But here in our first row we have W11, W12, and W13. So actually we are doing the transpose already. So we have already done the transpose, so that is why transpose is not written. So this is the thing about notation. So if you are using this common notation, that is, as the first neuron of the input layer is attached to the first neuron of the hidden layer, you have to write W11, and then you can write this as W21 and W31. But according to our this matrix, what we are writing it as W11, W12, and W13. Okay, so this is the thing. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Sir, so while answering the questions like
Yeah, yeah. While
related to dimensions.
yeah, while answering the question, you don't need to use your brain much. What you do is, actually what we do is if I consider this weight, so what I should write? I should write it as W11, right? Like this weight. If I consider this weight, I should write it as W21. That is as per our understanding. But as we are
Mm.
not doing the transpose of it, what we will write this weight, we will write this weight as W12. Okay, not
Okay, so we will
W21. So
consider
we
that
will
it's
just
already transposed.
yeah, we will write it as W12. So that is the thing. Otherwise you can just make the matrix and you can do the transpose and then you can multiply it. Otherwise for simplicity you just skip that transpose part. What you do is you do this weight as W two W 12, not W 21.
Mhm.
Actually, it should be W 21, but you just do the reverse of it and you write this as W 12. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So this is the concept. So is this question clear to all of you? Whatever our first question was, where our first question was, yeah. Is this question clear to all of you? What are the different dimension for all? Clear, right? So let me move on to the next question. Yeah, so what is the W1 and A1? W1 is 6 cross 3 and A1 is 6 cross 1. We have just discussed. So A and D will be your correct answer. Okay. So let me move to the next question. How many learnable parameter including the bias are there in the network? So what are the learnable parameter in a neural network? What are the learnable parameter in a neural network?
All the
Weights.
weights and biases.
Yeah, all the weights and biases. So we have to calculate how many weights and biases together are there. So how many weights and biases together are there? How you can calculate? Okay, so let
Dimensions, all the weights are one, so dimension, then add the bias.
yeah,
Wx plus b.
exactly. So how many weights are there? Just first calculate how many weights are there. So in W1 matrix, this 3 neuron is connected to 6 neuron. So we how many elements we have? We have 6 cross 3 element. That means we have 18 elements. Okay, so 18 weight in the 18 weight between input layer and the first hidden layer. Okay, and how many weights in W2? W2 we have a dimension 4 cross 6. That means we have 24 weights in between the second first hidden layer and the second hidden layer. So W2 is 24. What is the W3? W3 is 2 cross 4. That means 8. So total number of weights are 18 plus 24 plus 8. That is how much?
50. 50.
That is 50. Okay. But what we are missing here? We are missing the number of bias. Okay. So where are the bias located? There is no bias in the input layer, but there is bias in the first hidden layer, second hidden layer, and output layer. Whenever there is an activation function only, there only we will have bias. In the input layer, we do not have bias. So in hidden layer, first hidden layer, how many bias we have? Let's say it as B1. We have 6 neurons, so we have 6 bias. Now in this hidden layer, this is the B2, so we have 4 neurons, so we have 4 bias. And in output layer we have 2 neurons, so we have, let's take it as B3, we have 2 biases. So total this is how much? This is 32 plus this is sorry 42 plus 8, that is 50, and this is 12. So 50 plus
60.
12 12 is 62. Okay, so 62 will be our correct answer. So yeah, 62 will be your correct. This is I think this integer type of question. So 62 is your correct answer. Okay, is it clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Clear, right? How many learnable parameters? Weights we can just go with the what is the dimension of the matrix, and bias what we have to do, we have to see the bias in the not in the input layer but in the hidden layer and the output layer for each neuron. Okay, so total number of learnable parameters are 50 plus 12, that is 62. 50 for weights, 12 for biases. So 62 number of parameters. Okay,
So, how many number of non-learnable parameters are there?
Non-learnable parameters. What are the non-learnable parameters? Non-learnable parameters are something called hyperparameters. Learning rate can be one, number of iteration can be another one. That means how many iteration you want to do. So
Okay, okay, okay.
yeah,
Hyperparameter.
these are the hyperparameters. These are the non-learnable parameters. Okay, clear,
Yes.
right? Everyone, is it clear to all of you? I hope this is clear. Okay. Now, which of the following loss function is preferred for this classification problem? Mean squared error, cross entropy, and C is both mean squared error and cross entropy loss. So, any guesses for this? No guesses for this?
Cross entropy.
Yeah, cross entropy, right?
Cross
Classification
and
problem, cross entropy. If there is a regression problem, then mean squared loss. So, option B is your correct answer. Everything I have discussed in the theory only. So, this is the thing. So, option B will be your correct answer. I hope this is clear to all
just
of
out
you.
of curiosity,
Yeah, yeah.
is any possible that we can use both mean square and cross entropy, like
Yeah, we
any
can.
function?
Yeah, we can use if the question is it can be used or not. It can be used. Mean square error can be used, but here in the question it has been asked this which is preferred. So preferred, we always preferred cross entropy for classification problem. But we can use both. But the mean square error does not have that much significance in this classification problem. Okay, but as in the question it has been written preferred, so preferred cross entropy is always preferred. Okay.
Sure, sir.
Oh. So this is the fourth question. We have a multi-classification problem that we decide to solve by training a feed-forward neural network. What activation function should we use in the output layer to get the best result? So this is a multi-classification problem. Okay, so any guesses for this classification problem, or what type of activation function we use in the output layer? Any guesses? No guesses?
Softmax.
Output layer softmax is used.
Yeah, softmax is used. Okay, if we have a binary classification, then we can use logistic function. But because logistic function also gives the result between 0 to 1 if it is a binary function, but softmax function, whether if it is a multi classification problem, then only we use softmax activation function. Okay, logistic we can use for binary classification only, not for this multi classification problem, because multi classification we have different classes, so there we only have to use this softmax problem. So this is the thing. Yeah, logistic function you can use for binary classification, not for multi-class classification. So this is the thing. So option C is the correct answer. Okay. So I think this is clear to all of you. This is well detailed in the theory portion only. Now this is the question. Question number. Is it clear? Last question. Is it clear to all of you? Clear, right? Okay. Now this is the question. We have a data X with the following labels: Y, car, bus, bike, car, bus, whatever. This is the Y thing. Which of the following distribution will give the lowest entropy loss with Y? Distribution is given by the following order: car, bus, bike. Okay, so this is the distribution. So distribution means nothing but the probability. Okay, so there are two type of probability. One is the predicted probability and one is the actual probability. Okay, so cross entropy will be lowest when your predicted probability will be equal to your actual probability. Okay, so what has been told here? Which of the following distribution will give the lowest cross entropy loss with Y? So this is the as labels are given. So according to me, this is the actual means output. Now we have to means we have to calculate the predicted output, and our cross entropy loss is minimum when our predicted output is equal to the true output. Okay, so how we can perform this? Just this, if this is a true output, then we can just found this probability of car, bus and bike in the true levels. In the true levels, whatever we will be find, that will be equal to the predicted level, and then only our we will have a lowest cross entropy loss. Okay, so how car 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. There are 9 data points, and out of 9, how many are car? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Four
So the
cars.
probability of car is 4 by
4
9.
by 9.
For this bus 1, 2, 3, 3.
3 by 9.
3 by 9. And what will be the probability of this last thing?
2
Bike
by
is
9.
1, 2. 2 by 9.
9.
That's option B.
That is option 4 by 9 is point, yeah, that is option B. So this is actually y, this is actually according to me y actual. Okay, but here has been asked what is the y predicted. Now y predicted will be equal to y actual. At this condition only you will have the lowest cross entropy loss. Okay, cross entropy loss. So lowest cross entropy will be when y predicted will be equal to y actual. So y actual we have calculated, y predicted will be exactly equal to y actual in case to have a lowest cross entropy loss. Okay, so this option B is your correct answer. So is it clear to all of you? Clear, right? Any doubt in this? No doubt, right? Okay. So let me move on to the next question. Which of the following statement about back propagation is true? It is used to compute the output of a neural network. It is used to initialize the weight in the neural network. It is used to optimize the weight in the neural network, and it is used to regularize the weight in the neural network. Yeah, so option C is right. That is optimize the weight. Compute the weight, that is a task of feed-forward neural network only. We do not require back propagation of this. We just need a feed-forward neural network to compute the output. Okay. Initialize the weight. There is no specific thing for initializing the weight. Now it is used for optimizing. Yeah, back propagation is used for optimizing the weight. Regularize the weight. Regularize is another thing. Regularize is always associated with the input part. That means if we have many input, what we want to do is we need to regularize one set of input. So it is related to the input part, not the weight part. So option C is your correct answer. Okay. Regularization in machine learning, you must have heard about L1 regularization, L2 regularization. So what we do in all this regularization, we shrink one set of input which is not important. Okay, so that we do. So that is known as regularization. So regularization is always done for input, not the weights. So option C is the correct answer. Okay. So is it clear to all of you? Is it clear? Okay. Now this given two probability distribution P and Q under what condition is the cross entropy between them is minimized? All the values of P are lower than corresponding values of Q. All the values of P are lower than corresponding. Is the answer same? P and Q. This is higher, I think. Okay. There is a printing mistake. This is higher. Okay. Not lower. And P equals to 0, 0 vector, and P equals to Q. So
P
any
equals to
guesses?
Q.
Yeah, we have just solved a question like this. So this is the same thing, that your true distribution should be equal to predicted distribution. Then only our cross entropy will be minimized. Okay, cross entropy loss will be minimized. So option D is the correct answer. Okay, option D is the correct answer. So this is the question number 8. This is related to information content. Again, another thing for this entropy only. So given the probability of an event A occurring is 0.8 and probability of event B occurring is 0.2, which of the following statement is correct? Event A has lower information content, event A has higher information content, event B has low information content, event B has high information content. So information content is related to your probability by this formula. So what does this formula means? That if we have a higher probability, that means we have a lower information content, because whenever we will be increasing our probability, as there is a minus sign in between, so whenever our probability will be increased, our information content will be less. So event here has higher probability, that means it will have a low information content. So option A is right. Event B has a low probability, that means it will have a high information content. So A as well as D is the correct answer. Okay. So is it clear? Not only D but A also. Okay. Is it clear? Clear, right? It is not a direct question of your feed forward neural network, but it is related to the entropy part. Okay, as it is related to the entropy part, this question is given. Okay, so this is it clear to all of you? Very important question, can come in your exam or etc. Okay, okay, is it clear? Okay. Now let me move on to the last two questions. So again some network is given for the 9th and 10th question. So we have a neural network. We have 3 inputs in the input layer. We have three neurons in the input layer, 3 neurons in the first hidden layer, 2 neurons in the hidden layer, and 1 neuron in the output layer. So the input layer, the activation function in the hidden layer is sigmoid. Yeah, activation function in the hidden layer provided is sigmoid. So all this hidden layer has activation function sigmoid. The output layer does not contain any activation function. The loss used is squared loss. This is the loss used. Okay, predicted y minus 2y whole square. So this is the weight. If this is W1, so this is the weight W whatever W. 1 is given, this is the W2 is given, and this is the W3 is given. So all your weights are given. Bias, I don't think here it is bias. Loss used, the network, yeah. The network does not contain any biases. So B is 0 for all the neurons, bias is 0. The input to the network x1 is like this is the x1, x2 and x3. So x1 is 1, x2 is 1 and x3 is also 1. And the target value y is y equals to 8. That means this is the actual output. So what is the question? What is the predicted output? Now we have to find the y hat. We have y, but we have to find the y hat. So how this y hat or this y1 predicted can be calculated? This y1 predicted can be calculated by this formula. So again we have to go from one layer to another layer and put the activation function. So first this x1, x2 and x3 is given. Now our next task is to find h1, h2 and h3. So how we can find the h1, h2 and h3? First we have to do the w1x. So whenever we will do the w1x plus b actually, but as b is equal to 0, so this is the formula. So what is the z1? Z1 is nothing but the input portion of this neuron, and h is the output portion of this neuron. Okay, so first we have to calculate z1. So how this let's say how this z1 is like this is the z1 is calculated. How this z1 is calculated? Z1 will be equal to x1 into this is according to what sir has taught. This is w11. Okay, this is w11, this is w21, this is w21, this is w31. Now w12, w22, w33, like this, w23, like this, w33, w13 and w23. So these are the things. So our x1 will be equal to, if this is the thing, our x1 will be, z1 will be equal to x1 into w11 plus x2 into this is w22. Okay, z1 will be, z1 will be this. So w12, okay, and x3 into w13. Okay, similarly you can calculate z2, z3. Okay, and once you get z1, z2 and z3, you just have to apply this activation function, which is nothing but your sigmoid function. You just have to apply your sigmoid function and you will get the h1. So once you get this h1, again you have to multiply this h1 as the h1 into this w2, and you will get the this h2, and then h2 into w3, you will get the y1. Okay, so this is the thing. Yeah, in between you have to apply your activation function in between, like this w2 into h1. As you get z2, you will again have to apply the sigmoid function, and this output layer has no activation function, so this will be your output. So is this clear to all of you? Is this clear? Any doubt? You can calculate the output of any neuron, right? Now no doubt, right? Or still there are doubt? You can ask, anyone can ask if you have any sort of doubt. Okay, so I hope no doubt, and then we will go to our next question. So what is our predicted output coming? Predicted output is coming 4.9529. So this is again a range question, so it was between 4.95 and 96, as 4.95 is close, so I have written 4.95 is the answer. Okay. Now next thing, compute and enter the loss between the output generated by input x and the true output y. So what is our loss function? The loss function is given by this, predicted y minus true y whole square. So we have the true y, that is y equals to 8. So true y we know, and we just, the previous question we just know the predicted y, that is 4.95. So 4.95 minus 8 whole square. So that will be equal to your loss. So 4.95 minus 8 square, so that will be equal to 9.3025. So your answer will be in the range 9.30 to 9.31. So is it clear to all of you? Just calculate the loss. Loss function is already given, that is y. Loss function is already given in the question, that is y predicted minus true y whole square, or y hat minus y whole square, and that has been coming 9.3025. So this is your answer. So is it clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's all for this week. So any particular doubt in any portion, you can please
Sir,
ask.
sir, I have a question from previous assignment.
Previous assignment you have to do on yourself.
No, sir, we have got the answers. I have a problem with one of the solutions that's given.
Okay, so for that there's a discussion group, right, in the Google that
The Google
in your
forum.
yeah, Google forum, there is a discussion group, there you can ask. Okay.
So I
So the
did ask in the afternoon. I have not received any answer yet.
okay, so that there the answer will be given, because the assignment that is prepared by a course TA. Okay, so he knows what actually he has
Okay.
given in the answer. Okay.
Okay.
And
Mhm.
if you have doubt regarding the question how to solve it, then I can help with this. So can you tell me what is the question number? I can
Sir,
discuss in the next class. Okay. Question
okay,
number.
sir, it's question 5 from assignment 1.
Question 5 from assignment 1. Okay. Okay, I have
Yes.
noted it. Question 5 from assignment 1. Okay.
Yeah.
I will see. Okay.
Okay,
And we will
thank you, sir.
discuss how to do the question 5 of assignment 1 in the next class. Okay.
Sure, sure.
Okay. And in between, please ask your doubt regarding, if you have answer regarding the anomaly in the answer that they have provided, you have to ask in that Google group. Okay. There they will answer you.
And sir, will you do the codes here?
See,
The
codes, I do not have time for codes, but what I have done is, okay, let me unshare it. Okay. So everyone knows what is this. This is the link of my presentation folder, wherever I am uploading my this presentation. This you all know, right?
yes.
Who don't know this?
No, sir.
You don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you do is, actually my swam portal is different. So yeah, let me share the link for you. So 3 links I have shared in the previous week also. So let me share for this also. So So this is my link to my presentation folder. Okay, so let me open this and check. Yeah, this is the link to my presentation folder. Okay, so what you can do is you can check in this presentation folder. So in this presentation folder, where's the presentation folder? So in the presentation folder, these are the 3 weeks discussion, because 3 weeks I have done. But what I am course, actually course, you need a separate class for course. So course I cannot be discussing in the this class because of time limitation. But what I have done is, for each of the course that has been discussed, I have prepared a separate folder of it, and I have included code for each thing. Like if I just open this gradient descent visualization, I have provided the code for you. What you can do, you can just copy to your drive and run it and see your code running. Okay, so in the code only, what I have done, I have commented each thing. Okay, so that this code is very much self explainable to all of you, right? What are the parameters, how, what I am doing, I have done everything for you, so that you can self run this code and understand it. Okay, so what I will be doing is, I will be including in this folder all the codes. So you just open the code, copy to your drive and run it, and you can understand the codes. Okay, and in any code, if you have any problem, you can ask me in the class. Is it clear to all of you?
Sure, sir.
Okay. Okay, so that is the presentation folder. Other two links also you have, right? Or
Yes,
not?
sir.
Okay, let me again do this for some people who don't have the link.
Sir, a request.
Yeah,
If you
please.
can, that will be really helpful. In the all the codes, can you just add the small upper portion, just comment out the pseudo codes, basically for the like gradient descents and all, like the pseudo code will be helpful.
Pseudocode, that code is very much self-explainable to all of you. Like this code, right? Very much self-explainable. Each line I have commented this, like import the required libraries, define the input, then what is the sigmoid function, how I have written the sigmoid function, then what is the error, this is a mean loss error, so this is the formula, and this is the gradient. You can see this is the gradient, delta E by delta V, gradient with respect to bias, and then there will be gradient with respect to weight also. Okay, so where's the gradient with respect to weight? Yeah, this is the gradient with respect to weight also. And then this is the gradient descent algorithm. This is also given to all of you, and then you can just run it and you can see the results. So everything is self-explanatory.
Sure,
Okay,
sir.
like this I have prepared for every code, like whatever we have discovered, like maculopate neuron, some implementation, some difference between maculopate and perceptron, XOR gate, then this gradient descent, and the thing we will discuss in the next class, like momentum based gradient descent, then this Nestrov accelerated gradient descent, and everything that we'll be discussing in the next discussion. Okay, next week discussion. So everything I have included, and whatever the course will come, what I will do is I will include in this folder. Okay, so that will be very much self-explainable, and you can just copy the code to your drive and you can run it. Okay, and
Yes, sir.
this is the spreadsheet, and this is the spreadsheet. So whenever whenever you will be opening the spreadsheet, see there are 4 TA. This screen is visible to all of you, right? Is this screen visible? Not visible. Hello.
Not visible, sir.
Okay, 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 okay. Let me share it. Yeah. So this is the link that I have pinned it. This is the link for your spreadsheet. Okay. Whenever you will be opening your spreadsheet, you will have content of all the 4 TAs. So there are 4 TAs in the course. I take my class on Tuesday, and this is my my all the this YouTube links. Whatever I will be teaching, that will be provided to you in a YouTube channel. So this is the YouTube link for all this. As 2 weeks are completed, this is the third week. So I will be uploading the third week. Whatever I am recording here, I will be giving the third week after the upload. Okay, and this is the my presentation folder, and this is regarding me. Similarly, these are the presentation folder and the YouTube video for the other TAs. One TA I think takes his class on Friday, one on I think Sunday, one on Monday, and my class is on Tuesday, and this is my content. Okay, and this is the presentation link that I have just shared in the chat box, and also this is the YouTube video link. You just open one YouTube video and you just subscribe it. You need not to come here again and again. Whenever I will be uploading my video, it will be seen in your YouTube. Okay, is it clear? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Mohammed, any doubt?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt, Mohammed? Okay, I think no doubt. Okay, okay. So by this I am ending the session for today. I hope it is useful to all of you. Okay, and we will meet on the next Tuesday, 6 to 8. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you, sir.